abroad and how we can be a part of that. You have till about a quarter till, if you could wrap it up by then. Okay? Yes, yes.
Good morning, everyone. The whole time sitting there, I was thinking, am I tall enough to be there? You know, I'm very short. Yeah, right. It is a good thing to be here. We feel honored and blessed to be here sharing with you and to have the opportunity to be here sharing with you our journey as a family. And thank you for that. Thank you for doing that with us. We are the Chaves family, and we are from Costa Rica, and we are going to Paraguay this January 2026. So that's our journey as a family, our journey as a missionaries in the field. You can see my family so back there, over there. You can raise your hand. That's my wife, Lucrecia. You can call her Lu. It's easier to pronounce. My name is Juan. My daughter is Emma. She's 8. And my son is Lucas. He's 3 years old. And yeah, we are from Costa Rica. We are from Grace Bible Community Church in San Antonio de Belén, Costa Rica. A church that was planted 40 years ago by an American missionary. His name was Mr. Clarence Bifus, and he planted a church in Costa Rica 40 years ago. And I want you to remember that information, that this church was planted by an American missionary 40 years ago. And yeah, Costa Rica, the country that you think of when you want to go on vacation. Maybe in these times in winter, you think, hey, maybe we can go to the ocean in a tropical country like Costa Rica, right? And yeah, it's a very tiny little country in the middle of the Americas, Costa Rica. And we are from that church. Now, I want to share with you a little bit about our family, and because I want you to know us, right? I'm a stranger right now. So we have been married for 11 years, and we served together in our local church in Costa Rica. Just 4 months ago, we left, almost 5 months ago, we left our country, and we used to serve in the youth ministry in our local church. I was the youth pastor there, and Lou, my wife, she used to serve with me in the youth ministry. And yeah, and we used to divide or split our time between our regular normal jobs in Costa Rica and the ministry, because in Costa Rica, you know, a lot of us, we are volunteers in ministry. So 5 months ago, we had our normal regular jobs. I'm a graphic designer. So my wife and I, we used to work just 5 months ago in our jobs in marketing, web design, and graphic design. And yeah, so that just 5 months ago, we had our normal regular lives and working and paying the bills, paying the house, yeah, the kids in the school, and all that lifestyle we had just 5 months ago. Now we are transitioning and we are changing our lives because we have a purpose in our lives. And we studied, my wife and I, we studied at the Bible Institute in Costa Rica. So that's how I became a youth pastor, because we studied there. And yeah, and we love discipleship, one-on-one or small groups in our ministry. So that's one of the key things we love and we try to do in our ministry, discipleship. And did you know that 20%, we are from Grace Ministries International, that's our missionary organization, right? But do you know that 20% of the missionaries, the actual missionaries of GMI, are from our church in Costa Rica? The last 12 years, our church has sent 12 people into missions. That's a special thing. And that tells you that we are not here because of or by accident or by chance, or, you know. there is a plan, there is an organization behind us to be here today with you, sharing our experience. We are the 7th family in 12 years that is going to the field as missionaries. So that's very, very important and special for us to be part of that team of missionaries from our church. And we have missionaries, maybe you have heard about the missionaries in Nicaragua, missionaries in Mexico, missionaries in Paraguay, missionaries in Panama. So that's very important for our church. That is a church that believes in missions and is sending missions. And our church is a very special church because I want to share about our ministry in Costa Rica because it's the last ministry we did, right? Our church, our facilities is not like yours, right? We are in Latin America, so we have a gym and we have the services on the gym in the same place. But during the week, our church rents the facilities to a public high school. So we had the opportunity to invest our efforts and our lives with these students of that public high school. So many of the students we have in youth ministry in Costa Rica are from that public high school. And you know, in Costa Rica, we are not a very Christian country, so almost all of the students are from non-Christian families. So for us, it's very important to have students that they are attending church, attending in the youth ministry, and their parents are not believers. So that's one of the hooks we use to attract people to Christ. Their sons and daughters, their kids, to attract them to Christ. And that is very important for us, that to share Christ with the students that they are not believers in our environment. Discipleship, I already told you that we love discipleship, and we do believe discipleship is a way to help people to grow in their relationship, in this journey with Christ. And I want to give you an example. My wife, she has a group of girls that she used to meet with them during the week. And I'm going to share you why this is important for us. Because when you are in a meeting, official meeting in your program, in your church, I cannot really share or my private life or my intimacy in my life with you. And right, sometimes there is a big group of people. When you are in a small group, you can share with them, and you can share your struggles, your challenges in your life. What are you dealing in your life? Lou has 5-6 girls in her group in the youth ministry. And there are some girls are from non-Christian families, so she can explain how a Christian family should be. She can share Christ and the Bible with a student that probably they have never read the Bible in their lives. They can pray for each other. They can share. The students share with her a lot of big problems that in a bigger group they wouldn't do it. So that's very important for us. I use the same thing with the students. She does the same thing with the girls. And our challenge for the students is that the way you are growing in this discipleship group, you need to do the same with the younger students in the future. So that's our challenge, that we have like a network of people trying to do the same thing with the younger generation, of the younger people, of the new people in a ministry if it is in an adult environment. But that is what we want to do and to accomplish with these little groups, that the challenge is for you to do the same thing. Go and share and invest your life with other people, right? So that's the way we love to do that. And the first thing, or the main thing here, is you need to be intentional. In every relationship you have, everywhere, wherever you are. You need to be intentional. What is the intention of that relationship? To show Christ, to present, to introduce Christ to people. That's how I see in the Bible, in the New Testament, how Paul, if you go to the New Testament and you see Paul's life, the Apostle Paul, he was very intentional, taking advantage of every situation he had to introduce Christ to people. So that's our goal for our ministry. We had ministries like Kids Games. It is a program, an American program you have here in America, Kids Games. So we have also in Costa Rica around 200 kids from the community going to this program in our church once a year. Many of the families that attend our church in Costa Rica is because of this program. Again, it is like a hook to attract their parents. So we used to have workshops, activities it is like VBS, I think you have here in America, right? So it is for a week. We have this program in Costa Rica that we can share with the kids of the community. So 200 kids, and in fact, a lot of our families now attend our church in Costa Rica because of that program. So pray for our church, pray for the ministry there in Costa Rica. One of the things that it has been very important for us as a family is the short-term mission trips we had in the past. And it is not the same to hear about a field in another country as going, right? It is not the same thing to go that here, right? So we went to Nicaragua in 2014 as a family. Costa Rica is in the middle of America, the Americas. Nicaragua is to the north, just next to Costa Rica, but it is very different. Nicaragua is very different. Nicaragua is a communist country. They had a dictatorship. It is complicated to go to Nicaragua. It is a very poor country because of that. And Costa Rica is not a rich country, but compared to Nicaragua, it is a rich country. And you can see the need of the people in Nicaragua. But the most important thing when you go to a field, it is an eye-opening experience for you, for me, for us as a family. Because you can learn about the hunger of the gospel, for the gospel of the people in the middle of that situation, in a tough country, difficult situation, difficult context, and they're hungry for the gospel. They want to learn. They want to share Christ. They want, and when you go to a mission trip like this, like you are going for 10 days to a country, and you are like, we have a team. We are planning to build this, to paint this, to help the church in that area. We are going to share, we are going to teach, we are going to do this and this and this. But when you come back and you return, you are like, I think they were teaching me. I was the blessed one. I was the one who learned in this situation. And that's how we felt going to Nicaragua. Wow. We felt like this fire inside our hearts, right? We need to do more. We have a lot of resources here. That's our thought in Costa Rica. We had a lot of resources. And see that people in the middle of those situations, and they are going forward and learning and sharing in the middle of need in a hard situation. So for us, that was one of the reasons we want to be missionaries. Going to the field and learn from the people there and see how they love God in the middle of bad situations. Another country we visited was Panama. Panama is just next to Costa Rica, and to the south of Costa Rica is Panama. Panama is a different context. Panama, in fact, they use your dollars over there, so it is a very nice country, very similar to Costa Rica, but it is another context too. We went there, and the field was starting. A young team there working at a little ministry there, little church, 15 people meeting in David, Panama. So we had the opportunity to go there to learn, to teach, to share, and yeah, it is a blessing to go to a field and learn and to see how people in every situation is looking for God and for Christ and sharing, and they are worried to share with people that they never ever have heard about the gospel of Christ, right? So it is a very, very, really good experience to go to the field. In fact, I invite you to, if you had the opportunity to go, it is really good to you. You will see that it is a blessing to go to the field and learn and experience the people looking for God in any situation, in every context. So we had the opportunity to go to Nicaragua several times, to Panama, to Paraguay is the last field we went. Last year we went to Paraguay. Paraguay is very south in the Americas, just next to Brazil, Argentina, and Bolivia. And another context, I'm from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is very, Americanized. A lot of things from America we have in Costa Rica. We have a lot of influence from America, from the United States. South America, they have a lot of things from America, but not too much as we have in Central America, in Costa Rica. So it is a different country. The lifestyle is different. I think in our country, Costa Rica, the lifestyle is better than Paraguay. But Paraguay it's a good country. It is a conservative country. It is 90% of people in Paraguay, they identify as Catholic in Paraguay. It is the most Catholic country in the Americas, in Latin America. 90% of people, they identify as Catholic, which is not a bad thing, I think, because if you think of an atheist population or people with, weird beliefs, it is more difficult to share. With a Catholic audience, you can approach them and try to talk about God, that they will be open and say, well, maybe you are the one weird that you don't believe in our Virgin Mary, right? Some kind of conversations like that. So you can start a really good conversation. And one of the things that we do is like, okay, bring your Catholic Bible and I bring my Bible and we'll read the Bible. See what we can find in our Bible, right? So we can share and we can, it is a challenge, but I enjoy that challenge. That's what I'm saying with this environment in Paraguay. There is 3 missionaries in Paraguay, so we are going to join the team. And the idea is to split the team because they already have a church in Paraguay. It is a 3-year-old church. It is 50 people in this church. And we are going to help them in a little bit in some ministries in that church, but the idea is to plant a new church in a different city in Paraguay, 20 minutes away from the first church. So that's the idea, to working in this different city. It is a poor neighborhood where we are going to serve in Paraguay. They already have a kids club on Saturdays mornings. So the idea is to start with these kids and to try to get their parents, their neighborhood, and to plant a church there. Okay, so you can pray for that too. They have different ministries. They don't have youth ministry in Paraguay. So because of our experience, one of the duties we are going to do is to work in youth ministry as well in Paraguay. We had the opportunity to share in Paraguay last year and all the ministries they had there. We visited schools in the area, in the city. We shared in one school our lives, our ministry. So we know a little bit about the culture we are going to go and this cross-cultural experience we are going to have this January. So pray for that too. Our calling as a family, we do believe we are called by God to missions as a family. And we are grateful and excited to be part of Grace Ministries International, and we want to accomplish their goals. And the goals for this organization is plant churches. So our main goal is to plant a church in the next several years, and in the future, as a mid or long-term mission, is to plant a church in Brazil or Argentina. So pray for that. Romans 1:16 says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes." And for us as a family, that verse is very important. I already told you we are transitioning from being in Costa Rica to going to Paraguay, and I have to be honest with you. I don't know, I want to be authentic. You know, sometimes you are afraid, sometimes you have doubts. Sometimes you are like, what am I doing right now? And sometimes you are, am I taking the right decision to take my kids to another country, my little kids, and is this the best thing that I can do? Or, you think of insurance, education, the new situation. But when I read this verse, all that goes away. And it's like, it's not about me, it's about him. It is about the gospel of Christ, but because it's power for salvation for everyone who believes. So we want to keep this verse in our minds, in our hearts, to remind and to remember our purpose as a missionary family. That's why we love that verse. So we are going to be in Ciudad del Este, Paraguay. That means Eastern City, because we are going to be just in the border of Paraguay, just next to Brazil. In fact, you don't need a passport to cross between these two countries, Paraguay and Brazil, in that area. There is a bridge because there is a river dividing the two countries, but you don't need a passport. You can cross walking and go to the Brazilian side and going back, returning back, and it doesn't happen anything, So it is a very strategic place because of that. But it is a place where a lot of cultures meet. You have the Brazilian people, they speak Portuguese. You have the Paraguayan people, they speak Spanish. In fact, Paraguay, they speak two languages. It's a bilingual country, Paraguay. They speak Spanish and they speak Guarani, an indigenous language. It is mandatory in Paraguay to teach children in the schools Guarani. They are very proud about that, their indigenous heritage and the indigenous language. So Guarani is the only indigenous language in the world that it is spoken by not indigenous people. So it is an interesting fact about that. So we have the opportunity to serve just in the border, so we have the opportunity to travel to Brazil, to Argentina, and it is very easy. So it is very common to see people talking Portuguese to a Spanish speaker, and one of them speaks in Portuguese, the other answers in Spanish, and the other replies in Portuguese, and they understand each other. It is very similar, Portuguese and Spanish, so they can figure it out. Another thing they have is one of the biggest Muslim population in South America is in this area. 20,000 Muslim people live in that area, in that city. So that's something to take into account. And they are there not because of religious purposes. They are there because of business. Paraguay, this city in Paraguay, it is a duty-free city. So they have a lot of malls and shopping malls just next to the river that separates the country from Brazil. You don't pay taxes when you buy stuff there. So a lot of people from Brazil, a lot of people from Argentina, when they need a cell phone or new clothes or whatever, they go to this city because it's cheaper. And all of the businesses, most of them are owned by Muslim people. They are there for businesses. So they have mosques in this area. And you can see many Muslim people walking on the streets, and a lot of businesses, restaurants, a lot of things, Muslim people that have all kind of stuff there. So it's something to take into account when you get there. You have Brazilian people, Paraguayan people, Muslims, so you have a mix of cultures there. So one of the things, our mission as a family in Paraguay, what we are going to do, we are going to work in leadership training, because we do believe as missionaries, when you go to a field, that you are not going to do everything the whole time. You need to prepare local people to do ministry and prepare the leadership in the local church, because the idea as a missionaries is after a time we are going to go to another place. So we need to prepare local people, to prepare to teach doctrine, to teach everything about we believe, and prepare the structure of the church, and prepare the local leadership in the church. We are going to serve in youth ministry, as I already told you. We are going to serve in discipleship, children's ministry. And we have a strategy. And this strategy, we divided this strategy in 4 steps. The first step is to share the gospel, to win the people, the non-believers. And that's our main goal. When you are in the field, or when you talk to a missionary, that's the topic you talk about, right? We are going to share the gospel. Yeah, that's our most important thing, to share Christ, to share the gospel of Christ to people that they have never heard about Christ. But after that, as missionaries, that we are planting churches, we need to do a little bit more. We need to go beyond that. So once people believe in Christ, we need to build, or to help them build, this new relationship with Christ, the foundations of their faith, the basic or essential things they need to learn about that. After that, we need to equip and to train the potential leaders we have in ministry. So we have to share the gospel, to help build them in the new relationship, the new journey in this life with Christ. The third one would be to equip people. As a missionaries, one of our duties is to equip people, to prepare, to train people for ministry. Because the fourth and last one is to send, to multiply people. And you don't need to go to another country to be sent. You can do this in your hometown, in your neighborhood, in your college, in your job. You can be sharing Christ, and that's our strategy. How I see this strategy in the Bible? Well, 2 Timothy 2:2, the last letter of Paul. Paul was talking with urgency to Timothy, like, hey, Timothy, you need to do this, because I don't know, I think I'm gonna die soon. So I need you to do this, to prepare your ministry, to prepare people, because this needs to keep going, right? And 2 Timothy 2:2 says, and the things that you have heard from me, Paul saying to Timothy, among many witnesses, commit this to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. I see 4 generations there. I see Paul talking to Timothy, asking him to teach faithful men, but saying that this faithful man needs to be able to teach others. So I see 4 generations in that verse. And that's how a missionary needs to work, and that's how a church needs to work. And that's how a healthy ministry looks like, when you are replicating and preparing and training the people that is going to continue your work in ministry. So I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna last forever, right? And everyone here, we need to replicate and to prepare the next generation of leaders and servants. I love the word servants. more than leaders, servants of Christ in ministry. So that's how we saw that. One of the tools we are going to do in Latin America is the Grace Bible Institute online. We developed in Costa Rica the platform, the website. Now that we are full-time missionaries, we want to use this tool to share the Bible Institute with all the fields in Latin America. So we can share with other missionaries, with other fields, hey, we need to teach people. We have this platform, it's online. We already have students from Mexico, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Bolivia, and Paraguay. So pray for that too. And we want to create Christian resources in Spanish. I'm a graphic designer myself, so we want to continue doing this, to create materials, to share materials with other missionaries, that they share materials with us to create this kind of materials, the Christian resources in Spanish, and to share with all the mission fields. So how you can be part of this ministry? You can pray for us. That's the most important thing for me, to pray for us. Pray for this change in our lives. We are leaving behind our country to go to Paraguay. Pray for that. Pray for the kids. Pray for my wife, our family. We just left behind in Costa Rica. For the ministry in Costa Rica, pray for that. They are sending 12 missionaries to the field last 12 years. Pray for that ministry to continue doing that. Pray for our local church and the leadership in Costa Rica, and pray for Paraguay, the ministry there, the missionaries that are already there, that we can be very humble to join the team there and to serve with them in Paraguay. I already told you to remember that 40 years ago, an American missionary planted a church. And I already told you the strategy of the replicating and preparing people. After Mr. Clarence Bifus planted this church 40 years ago, his son, Mr. Chuck Bifus, continued his work. And after that, there are now 2 churches. And after that, now we have a local leadership in our church in Costa Rica, Costa Rican people working in the church, serving in the church. And after that, the church has already sent 12 people into missions. So, do you see the strategy? For us, took us 40 years. I hope for it would be less, right? I'm going to Paraguay. I hope in less time I can do that. So, that's the strategy there. And I want you to remember that, because you are part of that strategy. You as an American church, you are supporting fields and missionaries all over the world. So maybe you are giving $5, $10, $20 a month. That's what God is using for helping the ministry in Latin America and all other countries. So you need to remember that, because maybe you haven't dimensioned the impact of what you're doing, or what God is doing through you or by you. We are here. My family is here because of you, your effort for 40 years. And we are here. We are the product of that. So don't forget that. So pray for us, pray for our family, pray for the ministry. And if you want to be a partner supporting financially our ministry, we have a table outside, and you can grab a card, you can subscribe, and we can talk. We already are thankful for this church for supporting us. So Jim Elliot was a missionary who died in Ecuador, in the jungle, not so far from Paraguay. He said, "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." I think Paul said it better. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. I think that's the idea here, to remember that. So thank you for having us. Thank you for the time. Thank you for listening to us. God bless you. Thank you. I don't know if I'm on time, so thank you.